Hi, welcome to the Best Ever You Global Summit. I'm Elizabeth Hamilton-Guarino here with Kris Fuller, and we'd like to welcome our next guest, Simon Daniels. Simon Daniels is a singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist, most known as the lead singer and guitarist of the multi-platinum band Autograph. After many years of internal and external struggle, Simon became an observant and student of life, incorporating a philosophy for well-being through living in a fully conscious state of mind, based in the importance of prioritizing all decisions and choices from moment to moment, from thoughts, feelings, words, and actions. Simon resides in Los Angeles when not on tour, and Simon is a thought leader on BestEverYou.com. Please join me in welcoming Simon Daniels.
Hi, it's Kris, and I'm here with Elizabeth, and we are so excited to welcome our next guest, Simon Daniels.
Simon Daniels is the guitarist and lead singer for the band Autograph. Simon, welcome. We're so glad to have you with us.
So to kick it off, Simon, give us a little bit more about you. If somebody did not know who Simon Daniels was, give us the elevator pitch introduction. Who are you?
Well, I'm a musician, songwriter who moved to Los Angeles in 1985 from Brazil. I come from a family who escaped the Holocaust. I was first generation born there. And at 23, I had dreams and an opportunity to come here, to move to Los Angeles. And I took it, and I was already a musician with a degree in business and so on. But I developed my skills, and since I've been here, I've been in many bands and projects. Many of the bands released albums, and to make a long story short, I've been the singer and guitar player for Autograph, replacing the original singer now since 2013. So this is our 7th year together.
Wow. And there's, I know things have changed with COVID and everything for your touring and so forth. How has that changed, and what have you done to kind of maneuver through all of that?
We were touring nonstop, and it started out last year, 2020, around February. We were getting ready to go to England in March to play, and it started hitting, and so the show was postponed for the end of last year, and then it was postponed for this March, and now has been postponed again to next year. So we had a full-on schedule, and the shows were postponed, but none of them were canceled. So the dates, they just keep being recycled and put ahead, and we just play it by ear. There are places where are more open, other places surgically more open, other places are more, usually the East and the West Coast are more difficult, but we went to Colorado and went to Iowa, and we did 2 shows, went really well with Quiet Riot and I don't remember, another band, I think. This was the first semester of 2020. There was some social distancing, and they were taking temperature of the audience, of the people when they were coming in. It went pretty smooth, but everybody was still sort of like trying to, absorb how to go to an event, and and especially something that's music, a show, which is something that is supposed to bring people together, and you have to learn to have fun and be physically apart from people. But it was fun, and it was what it was. But then in the second semester, all the shows were postponed. We have a full schedule this year, starting in May. And we're going to have to play it by ear again, because as now the shows are all confirmed, but this is not an exact science, and it keeps changing. So I'm very excited about it, but I'm not attached to any outcomes, and I'm just ready to go and rock and roll whenever it's the time.
Yeah. Well put.
Awesome. Awesome. I think that flexibility that you're talking about is so key, and that people are really figuring out a new understanding of how to, like, when to press go and when to hit the brakes and what does that look like. And I can imagine for sure at those music venues what a different feeling that might have as they're trying to, like, navigate and wrap their heads around, and you too, like what the new landscape looks like. So lots of learning and flexibility, I think, is key there. But I'm going to lead into my next question with that is people are figuring out and understanding how to do things newly and differently. What would you say is something that people often misunderstand about you?
One thing is that I like to speak, I like to use metaphors in general. And I've gotten used to that for many years. And I assume that everybody gets it right away, whether you walk in a gas station or in a, so sometimes it could come across a little sarcastic, or it's not sarcastic. It's more like humorous, sarcastic, because when I talk to people, I really just feel like I'm talking to their soul. I just gotten used to this. I just sort of, I don't know, it's just automatic. And I have this feeling that I've known them forever, anybody that I meet. So I have a feeling of identifying with people, but it's a little bit out there because it takes sometimes it takes a minute for them to realize that I'm not crazy or something, that I'm not making fun or something. So, but I do, it's all in good, in good spirits, and it's all for the fun of it. But I've gotten used to do this, and sometimes I forget that when I'm meeting a new person that they don't know me, and I'm talking to them as if they did. And then when I answer questions or when I talk, sometimes they wonder if I'm if I'm playing with them, or if I really mean what I'm saying. So that's one thing. The second thing is the whole rock star stigma of lifestyle, that people expect you to do certain activities and to live in a certain lifestyle at certain hours, and do certain things, which became stereotyped throughout the years. And I can assure you that most musicians that are performers and that are, at a little bit older, they're very conscious to maintain themselves, to be able to perform and to give them their all to the audience. And in order to do that, you have to take care of yourself. And the notion of rock and roll is a rebellious notion where it went initially against any type of discipline or any type of
wellness. How about wellness? Well-being.
Yes, but it's you don't want to criticize that, because that's the essence of it. At the same time, priority speaking, it's to me more important that I'm good when I perform or when I do an interview or whatever, than to actually project a certain lifestyle.
Yeah, that's very well. I think that's very well put. I know this from having you on Best Ever You for a while now. You actually talk about wellness for a minute, because that is something that you're really proud of, because you bike. I mean, how many miles are you up to on that bike now? That's a lot.
I don't plan anything. The older I get, the more spontaneous I like to do. I like to do things when I feel like I want to do them, and then therefore everything I do is more from wanting and comes out with more joy. But just to give you a average example, I would say about 15 miles in the morning of bike riding, and then in the evening I do like 5 miles running. That's what I've been doing, because I also used to go to the gym, and the gyms are closed and stuff. But actually, I'm enjoying the outdoors. I was always outdoors, but I don't miss being confined in a gym right now. So I love going out in nature and hiking and running. And it's not running; it's jogging. Really, I'm not going to take off running like a madman, like a marathon, but it's stuff that makes you feel good, and raises your vibration, gets you connected to nature and to and to mindset where you can carry that at least physically and mentally for a few hours. So that's why I do it twice a day, because I cover the whole day with that feeling, and at a certain point, if I don't do it for 1 or 2 days, I start really missing it. So maybe it's an addiction, but I'd say out of all the addictions that exist, I think it's a good one.
Yeah, agreed.
I'd agree. Yeah, I'd agree as well. That's beautiful. And Elizabeth and I are champions for mindset, and we love everything around that. And your answer is very heartfelt as well. And I love hearing you talk so openly about things that have touched your heart. And so it makes me want to ask you, is there, if you were to list one person who especially touched your heart or made a difference in your life, who would you talk about?
There are so many people. It's really hard to
Hang on, I'm going to cut audio.
just put all this
for a second.
credit into one.
1 second. Can you go? We froze. Can you just ask that again? So I'm going to count it down. 3, 2, 1.
So thank you for sharing so much of that heartfelt answer and that essence of who you are. And we love all of that healthy mindset stuff. And I want to talk more about that heart. If you could list one person who really touched your heart, really made a difference in your life, who would you talk about?
There are too many people, and it's hard to give one person that much credit. But I have a childhood friend named Corbin, who I'm friends with since I was 11 years old, and this is a person that has implemented in himself unconditional love, very rarely. That it's not something that he studied or that he's just a person that he gives any person the benefit of the doubt, and he assumes everybody is good until he finds out that something, So I learned that with him, and obviously he used that with me, and the feeling of having a friend that has unconditional love, and he's a little bit older than me, so there's a great example. My friend Corbin, who I love very much from my heart.
What is it that makes you feel inspired to be your best self?
It's awareness. It's the awareness of a choice that you have at every next moment anew. Every next moment is a new opportunity to reinvent yourself. There is no past or future. There are illusions. Your past is just something that is due to your memory, and the future is something that is due to your imagination. So once you understand you should be fully in the moment, you make choices better. And I am very aware of that my tools of creation, which everybody's tools of creations are thoughts, words, and actions. So all the way to what I'm thinking and how I express myself. I'm not saying it's premeditated, but I'm very well aware of it. Therefore, I can just be aware when there's negative energy and when there is something that doesn't resonate right with the way I feel that I would like to conduct myself.
Have you always been that way, or is it something that you learned along the way, or have you just always been very mindful?
No, I've never been that way. I mean, I've been that way now for maybe 5 years, maybe less, but it's a life studying thing for me, because it was exactly the opposite. I was all over the place, and I didn't realize how much power in terms of your destiny you have regarding to how do you think and express yourself, and the choices that you make. So you really have, you're not really a avatar of the world. You are a creator. So you create with what you have. So have I would just, that's exactly why this is so important to me, is because I think I made many mistakes by ignoring this issue. So it's very, so I just made a priority to become more aware. And as you become more aware, it starts becoming more part of you and more automatic. And it's like you're replacing the software in your brain, the old software of just like, you know, being all over the place and, you know, there's, you know, not understanding that the things that you do and say and think have, it's a cause, not the effect.
Yeah.
I love that. I love how you said as well that the past is a memory and the future you can imagine. That just spoke to me so much, because I think so many people, myself included, can get stuck with what did I do? What did I say? The past, and things can hold you down. And instead of just letting that go, focusing on your mindset, your future yourself, and going forward, that's the whole life journey. The whole, what can you do to improve yourself and keep going forward? And I applaud you for that. I love hearing you say that. I'm going to steal that. Memory, imagination, coming my way, Simon. So, I mean, with that, you know, people have, when they have difficult times and when they have hardships, sometimes it's really easy to say, okay, move on, move forward, go forward. So like, what are your tips for that? And what role do you think music plays when people are facing like a difficult time, a difficult section in their journey?
Music is music alter the energy. So you need to be aware of that too. You know, I use music to raise my energy, my frequency, you know, my vibration. I think that is a great tool if you know how to use it for your benefit due to the situation. I don't listen to the same thing all day long with the same genre. I feel that there are times of the day and circumstances where certain types of music, they elevate me. It was not always like that, you know, because once again, all this is a process of awareness, of sort of like waking up, but not wake. When I don't like to say waking up now, because it's such a trend with this whole thing of waking up, but it's more like you are just becoming aware of what works and remembering that your priority is to be happy and be your best, because that is how you will perform and spread better energy all around. It doesn't do anybody any good for a person to be feeling bad about this or that. You know, positive energy is everything. So the reason why it's so important to acknowledge that the thing I was saying about the past and the future is that the past. I mean, look, when you notice with the animals, if a dog loses his leg or her leg, they don't you know, they don't get devastated, because they want to treat, they forget about the leg, they're just immediately on the way to the treat. You know, it's like they never had it. So that works. So your brain is really a computer, and you need to be very careful not to use you instead of you using it.
That's very well put. Would you say that's the most important thing you've learned in your life? Or
Yes.
something else? Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to elaborate on anything more about that?
Cannot, that pretty much includes the majority of everything that, you know, because if you get that down, if you start getting that, if you start understanding, everything starts falling into place. First of all, obviously there's an energy that created us. I didn't create myself. I don't remember me making myself. Okay, I don't operate my heartbeat. I don't operate my eyes blinking, you know. So what is it? You know, there's something there's an energy that exists, but we have five senses. So we pretentiously seem to ignore things until they're scientifically proven. But the reality is that we don't really know anything yet. And people that, you know, only use their brains and their rational parts of themselves, they're stuck and limited. If you start paying attention to things, to signs, to songs, to messages, to words, there are hints everywhere, that will coincidentally appear when you need them. Don't resist. Don't put negative energy. You will be able to get that momentum. But I understand that this is very difficult for people to do, because when you're a toddler, you start getting taught in school and these days social media or whatever it is, that you have to be number one, that you have to get an A+ on everything, that you have to win everything, that it's an ego-driven life, and that will never fulfill the void that you have. And that's why you see so many people that have so much money and success that are absolutely miserable, because nothing outwards will fill in the void that is the fact that you exist and you are in connection with this energy, and you're here for a period of time, and you better make amendments with this energy before you have to make amendments with it 3 minutes before you're gone. You start earlier.
One of the themes Elizabeth and I are running with this conference is the phrase incredible yes. And so if I were to ask you, what was an incredible yes for you? A moment that you said yes to something, a time that really changed the trajectory of your life. And I'd love to hear from your words. What would you say an incredible yes was that got you in a position and headspace and mindset going where you're like, yes? Do you have a particular moment, or was it more of a...
all moments are important, but I can point out that when I had the opportunity to move to LA, I didn't even think twice. So it was right off the bat, it was yes.
Awesome.
See ya.
Yeah.
I'm gone.
Do you, if like millions and millions and $100 million, let's just say, to spend not on anything for yourself but for other people, what would you do?
I think the immediate thing to do is just that it's hard to live in a world where you see people hungry and homeless.
Isn't it?
So, I mean, well, I don't, so automatically I would try to invest or do as much as I can to not, to diminish that, because it's very, very still dark ages that at this point, and I know what I'm saying because I have been in many places in many different countries, and it just seems the priorities are weird. And so, yeah, that would go straight into immediate necessity for human survival.
All right. So we're gonna wrap up, and I want to thank you for being here with us, because it's been a really enlightening conversation, and you're such a bringer of light, and so empathetic, and all those wonderful things that we need in the world. Kind. When I think of you, I always think of kind, just kind soul, kind energy, and just loving. But before we go, we are asking all of our speakers some of these questions, the 3 questions, and one of them is, what's your best tip for our audience on time management? I think you've hinted at that a little bit, but if you want to add on, that'd be wonderful.
I think obviously prioritizing is important, because there's things that have to be taken care right away, but there's a paradox that we change our priorities as well. So once again, awareness, and the awareness is always gained from moment to moment. So I'm not at this point, I'm learning not to be attached to anything whatsoever, because I think the outcome that the energy has for me has been better, if I look back into my life, than any time what I wanted for myself. So I just continue on that path.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I mean, I already asked you as well about your incredible yes. You gave us that answer. So that was wonderful. That's one of our themes. I think I would also like to hear from you, like, what would be your final thoughts for our listeners in our summit today? What would be your words to inspire and encourage them and send them on their way with newfound energy? So give us that. Give us the best Simon Daniels sparkle.
Work with the energy. The energy wants you to succeed, wants you to be happy. The energy who created you. I don't care what name do you call that thing, but there is obviously something that's bigger than us, who created us, which is perfection. And the fact that you don't understand when things happen immediately in your life, you just don't see it at that moment. But you have to embrace it. Don't resist. If you resist, you just make it more difficult. So the whole notion of martial arts is to use the force of the opponent in your favor. It's the same. It's the same principle. Something happens to you. It seems sometimes it's not good. We immediately judge it as good or bad. But that's also implemented in our heads when we're toddlers. It's like you have to immediately decide if something is good or bad. No, you don't. You can just observe it, live, let it sit. Because you might change your mind, why label it? So I would say, take everything that comes to you, don't resist, and your reaction to it is what really gonna determine the best outcome. It's that simple, but not so easy to do when you've been brainwashed by society for 50 years. But there's still time.
You got it. All right. Thank you, Simon. It was really wonderful having you with us, and I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thanks from Elizabeth and Kris.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure.